What's up, everybody? Paul Carl here. Today we're going to talk about some secrets about the eBay algorithm. And secrets is in quotation marks because they explain it all in a patent. So let's run through the patent. I'm going to go through it quick and try not to repeat myself or rant too much. I'm going to rant in the appropriate places. But this is how it works in a nutshell. This is the website right here. You search for a thing, it goes through all this magic in the back end, and then it spits out these search results right here. And this is a diagram of this part, this item listing presentation management module. This on the left is that. It has a whole bunch of other algorithms within it. So whenever you make a search, there isn't just one algorithm generating the search results. There are multiple algorithms at play, and certain algorithms have a higher weight than others depending on the age of the listing, which is why people end and sell similar and have some success with it. We'll talk about that more later. On the right here, this shows you how they do this intermingling. And basically what that is there's basically a ranking that's generated for auctions, fixed price with a known history and fixed price with an unknown history. And then they kind of mix those together a little bit, spit out a nice diverse search result page here. And what this does is it gives new listings a shot at ranking, because otherwise, if they only did it based on historical data, then the older listings would dominate and nobody else would really get many eyeballs. There are three ranking score components, and those are relevance, listing quality, and your business rules. And relevance has its own algorithm, business rules has its own algorithm, and then listing quality has multiple parts, multiple sub-algorithms. I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to go with it, people. So right here, best match score, this is your ranking score. It takes your relevance, your listing quality, and your business rules scores, and it multiplies them. This is crucial, that it multiplies them. It's not just adding them together, it's multiplying them. So if you have a really high score or a really low score in any one of these categories, it's going to dramatically swing your ranking score from, a higher number to a much lower number. The only other thing I want to point out here is business rules. Look at this. The whole free shipping versus charge shipping debate? They explicitly tell you you get a ranking promotion for having free shipping and you get demoted for having a shipping cost. So that should tell the debate, really, right? Anyway, this is here to kind of hammer home that multiplicative concept. Because let's say the scores are from 1 to 10 for simple math, and you have a 3-day handling time, you charge for shipping. You have an 8 for your relevance score, an 8 for your listing quality, and your business rules is 6. You multiply those together, you get 384 for your ranking score. Now, let's say that you change to free shipping and you make your handling time the same day. Now your business rule score becomes a 9. So rather than going from like 22, if it was just added together, 22 to 25, which isn't that big of a change, you're instead going from 384 to 576. That's the power of multiplication versus addition in this algorithm here. And I also wanted to point out that I think scores of 0 are possible, because you've probably, if you've been around YouTube long enough, you've probably heard some sellers complain that their listings literally aren't showing up in the search results. And I bet you that's because one of their scores is a 0. And when you multiply something by 0, it goes to 0. And eBay even says explicitly in the patent, ultimately, as the search result impression count becomes high, the listing quality score trends towards 0. All right, we're going into each of these subparts. So this is for your ranking score. Remember, there's the 3 points: relevance, listing quality, business rules. We're on number 1 here, and this is relevance. This diagram is actually from a different patent, which is made by PayPal. It's complicated, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here, but basically eBay is looking at what the person typed in, like what their search query was, and then they're comparing that search query against your keywords, your item specifics, and even your images now. And what happens is these things, they try to calculate what the relevance is and show you the most relevant listings, and they're getting feedback. So as they get data from each search that uses that keyword or similar keywords, they're getting data, they're measuring how the user interacts with the results, and then they're making improvements. So every time you do a search, it's going to use this historic data to make the next search result a little bit better. That's how this works for determining relevance. And I'm not sure how they determine the score exactly, but it depends on these things. So make sure you have good clean images, make sure you have good item specifics, as many as you possibly can, and you're using as many keywords as possible so you can be more relevant to more searches and get more eyeballs on your listing so you can sell it. Listing quality score. They have different ways that they calculate these. There's different algorithms for parts of this also. So if you're following along, this quick rant, um, the listing quality score is part of your ranking score. This algorithm has other algorithms within it, and it's within another algorithm, within another algorithm, so it gets deep. But for each category, this could be slightly different, the way that they weigh the algorithms and whether or not they actually use the algorithms can change too. So, for example, you have a seller quality score for your account, and that is just based on your overall data, your business policies, your like feedback score, your late shipments, all that kind of stuff weighs into your seller quality score. And if you're selling jewelry, for example, over used books, eBay is going to preferentially treat those jewelry sellers who have a high seller quality score because that's a much higher risk category than, say, used books. And as a result, used books, they might not even factor in your seller quality score into your listing quality score. They might just ignore it completely. Whereas in jewelry, if you have a really high seller quality score, you might get a big bump in rankings. And if you have a really low seller quality score in jewelry, you might see your rankings like just disappear. All right, this quote is directly from the patent, and basically what your listing quality score is how confident eBay thinks your item will sell when they show it to people. And they calculate the score using weights, and this is where like end and sell similar comes in. We're going to talk about that a little bit sooner. They have some nice graphs that kind of illustrate how that works. They have a predicted quality score, and then they have an observed quality score. These are the two keys, and then the weight is what changes based on time. So if it's a observed quality score, like let's say you have a listing that is multi-quantity and you've sold half of them and you have a 50% conversion rate, you're going to get really high placement because of that, because 50% conversion rate is really good. That can also be influenced by your category too. So perhaps a 50% conversion rate, while being really good in general, maybe it's really bad for the mobile phones category. If you're selling iPhones and you only have a 50% conversion rate, that might actually hurt you. Whereas if you're selling the used books, a 50% conversion rate is unbelievable. So you get a big boost from that. eBay also takes into account your views, how many people are watching the item. That's why there's like all the watch bots. We'll get into this more. I got sections on all of these in more detail. And we also have predicted listing quality score. This is for a new listing, and especially for a new listing that only has one quantity. They're going to look at similar listings and kind of look at these different factors here and see what they think is going to happen based on how similar items have performed in the past. And how they determine what's similar, that kind of goes back to the relevance. All right, predicted scores. In general, your predicted listing quality score is going to be much higher than your observed listing quality score. Uh, this is why you get that new listing boost when you put up a new listing, and that's why people are always trying to list every single day so they can have a new listing boost every single day, and hopefully those new listings can get more eyeballs into your store and onto your other items. So the goal here is it's so simple, it's so basic and common sense. You just need to create listings that you think are going to sell as quickly as possible, and you need to list them in a way so that eBay can accurately predict that they will sell quickly. And this is where you need to have all your item specifics, your images, good keywords in your titles. All that stuff really, really, really matters. And I'm going to show you some data from my account on how that has impacted my store. I'm also going to show you how you can find out with certainty, based on data, how your listings perform compared to others. And then you can actually go in and make improvements to how you list and to listings that you may already have listed so that you can be in that top tier and get these higher, better results. For your observed listing quality score, this is where the historic data for your listing comes into play. If you have multi-quantity listings, your conversion rate is going to play a really key role in this, because if you have a higher conversion rate, eBay is going to want to send you more people because they're going to buy it more likely than somebody with a lower conversion rate. If it's a single quantity listing or an auction, it's going to be based on the performance of items that eBay thinks are similar, and your overall conversion rate from your account, either completely overall across the board for your account or for that specific category, That's going to influence higher or lower rankings. So you want to have a high conversion rate, as high as possible. A easy way to get a higher conversion rate: lower your prices. If it's too cheap, people are going to buy it, and you can see this with cards all day. Like if I had a card, it's like a $40 card, I threw it up for 35 and I took an offer of like 32. It sold like instantly. Keeps my conversion rate really high. I left a few bucks on the table. I don't care. I still made money. I'm making my account better. It's a snowball. It's all about speed. Another thing I wanted to point out here is that this is yet another reason to specialize, because if you're specialized in a specific category and you are very good at it, you can get that higher conversion rate. You can get these better metrics. You have more historic data for eBay to use to rank you higher than your competitors or higher than just generalists. All right, this is the fun part where we look at the weightings. So in that formula you saw, let's go back. Where's the formula? All right, here we go. So you see, they're putting these weights into the formula here, and what it's going to do is this. So you can see, as time progresses, as you get more impressions on your listings, they're going to weigh the observed quality score higher than the predicted quality score. So a new listing, it's almost all predicted. And then as you get impressions, as time goes on and the thing doesn't sell, they start to say, all right, maybe our prediction wasn't so good after all. Maybe this listing sucks. And you get this higher weight on the observed listing quality score. And if that observed score is low, which it probably will be if it's been sitting for a while, then the rankings will slowly drop over time and then probably eventually fall off very quickly. Oh, yeah. And this is how the end and sell similar thing works. So here we go. This is where you see like a good item and a bad item. Your listing quality score is right here. Search impression count is right here. So this can be your predicted or your observed. So as the weight between predicted and observed changes over time and shifts, you can see this item here. This was a good item because it actually sold before the weight shifted too much. And then this one that sat forever just falls off a cliff. That would be a bad item because it hadn't sold. And so if your item is, on this right-hand side of this graph, and then you do the end and sell similar, you basically go from down here at the bottom to back up here at the top in the search results. That's how that works. That's why people do that. End and sell similar does get a lot of people sales. It's not a solution to the problem though, because if you have to consistently end and sell similar your listings, that means that your listings are performing badly over time, and you need to figure out why that is and correct it so that you don't have to end and sell similar to get a boost in the rankings. You just want to always be high in the rankings and sell your stuff quickly. That should be the goal. All right, now we get to the third part of that ranking formula. This is where business rules come into play. And essentially from the patent, what they do is they have a lot of these conditional statements where, if the category is this and this is true, then this is how we're going to weight weight this number, this part of the formula. So for example, here, if I don't know what their like actual tiers are, I don't know if this 3 means anything or not, but if a seller quality score is less than 3, that means they're a bad seller. So they're going to give you 20% penalty to your ranking. And if you have a high score, I imagine they're going to give you a 20% bonus to your ranking. This is why making sure that you don't have cases closed without your resolution, you don't want to have negative feedback, you don't want to have late shipments. All of those types of issues are going to lower your seller quality score, and you are going to be penalized in the rankings for it as a result. Furthermore, it said earlier that free shipping gives you a boost. That's a free boost. You might as well just use free shipping, build it into the cost. And I know, you sell something heavy. You don't want to, take an extra $10 off your profit because it ships, from New York to California or whatever. Just build it into the price as though you're shipping to California, have best offers on. And, if somebody in your state or in your zone sends you an offer for $10 off, $20 off, you can take it in an instant because you know where it's shipping to. Whereas if somebody in California sends you that offer, you can counter or just decline. It only really makes sense to me to charge for shipping. Like if you're doing auctions, let's say, and you want to combine shipping for people and start all your auctions off really cheap. All right, that makes sense to me. The other thing is maybe you only want to deal with the savvy eBay users. You want to be so hyper focused on this tiny, tiny minority of eBay shoppers that understands how combined shipping works and understand how the shopping cart works, which, believe it or not, there are lots of people who buy stuff on eBay who do not know how to click on add to cart so that they can use a coupon code or whatever it is. There's a lot of customers who don't understand that stuff. Uh, so the more complicated that you make it, the more hoops people have to jump through to make a purchase from you, the less possible customers you're going to have. So I say free shipping, man. It's the way to go. It's so much easier. You get a ranking boost. It's simpler for the customer. And as somebody who buys a lot of inventory on eBay, like nothing makes me more frustrated with a seller than having them charge shipping. I go and add a bunch of stuff to my cart, and then I look, they don't even have their account set up right to combine the shipping automatically. So, I want to buy $100 of stuff, and then the shipping is like $200 because they don't know how to set up their shipping policies. There's a lot of people out there. You might be one of them. You should check it out. Make sure that everything works. Open up an incognito window. But there's a lot of sellers who don't have their shipping set up properly, and they're charging for shipping. And when you have a customer like me who wants to come and buy a whole bunch of stuff and your shipping policy is messed up, I don't want to try to teach you so I can make a purchase. I'm just going to move on to a different seller who has it already set up correctly or who just offers free shipping and makes it simpler. That's another barrier. Even if you have savvy customers, if you charge for shipping, I don't know if you know what you're doing, and I don't want to go through your store, add a bunch of stuff to my cart, and waste all my time just to find out that your policy's not set up correctly. I like this graph here because this shows you how dramatic or inconsequential these boosts can be. So like if you're already ranked really high, your 20% boost is not going to be that dramatic. Whereas if you're more of like a typical middle of the road type seller, that boost is going to be huge. And this is why, when people argue about free shipping versus not free shipping, they say, oh, so and so, this big seller charges for shipping and they're not losing anything over it. Well, all their other scores are so high that it doesn't make a big difference whether they have free shipping or not. But whereas if you're one of these smaller sellers or less experienced sellers with lower scores, then it has a very big difference. So that's another thing to think about. And I know this kind of contradicts my stance, but I still stand by it because even if you're a big seller, I don't want to get invoice. I still don't want to check and see. It's too much extra. Just do free shipping. In the patent, eBay also states that, of course, a great number of other item or seller attributes might be considered when deriving the predicted listing quality score. And this is where you get to go full on tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. I love this part because this is where I talk about like with your store. eBay added all these new features. They added like the Q&A part. They added you can add the video, you can add the banners, you can add all these different things. And a lot of sellers aren't taking full advantage of all those features. However, eBay, they have an incentive because they created the features. They want to see how people, customers, are interacting with those features. They want to get data on that to see if it's having a positive impact on their sales or a negative impact on their sales or no impact at all. They want that data. So I think that if you're a seller and you put a video in your store, you fill out all the Q&A stuff, you write a little bio, you do all that, and you make your store look nice, I think eBay is going to give you a boost in the rankings because that creates the opportunity for them to collect the data on those features. Whereas another seller who maybe they have identical scores to you across the board, except they don't have their video in their store profile. You have your video in your store profile. So if I'm eBay, I'm showing you over that other guy because I need that video data. This is more on the free shipping versus the paid shipping, why they started to incentivize free shipping versus the paid shipping. All that good stuff. This is more good fuel for the argument if it's something that you want to have. um, but yeah, if you do charge for shipping, you want to make sure that your shipping charge is lower or on par with like the median in your category. So for example, if you have eBay standard envelope shipping for your sports cards, you probably don't want to charge more than $1 for that because that's usually pretty standard, usually $1. If you have eBay standard envelope and you charge $3, you're probably going to get a lower ranking for that because it's inflated compared to the norm. All right, that was the end of my slideshow. This is the part where I'm supposed to shill my software, but I'm going to save this for the end. We're probably in the middle right now. So if you're still watching this nerdy rant, like I'm gonna push your like button because I like you. You're my kind of person if you're into this stuff. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and kind of go through more detail of some of these things that I glossed over at the beginning, and we'll start right here. Um, so we talked about all these. These are the predicted and the observed scores, the intermingular. So right here, relevance score is kind of the first thing that they do, that they calculate, and then they're calculating your listing quality score. And this is where they have the predicted versus the observed. All these metrics are done. And once all these things are calculated um, from this listing quality management module, you get ranked in these three buckets depending on what you are. So if it's an auction, it goes in the auction bucket. If it's a fixed price where it's known, the observed score is known, you go in this bucket. And if you're still a newer listing, you're going to go into this unknown bucket. And then they shuffle them around. So even though you might be ranked number one for this fixed price known, you might only be ranked number two in the search results because of how they kind of intermingle them. They put the knowns and the unknowns, they can collect data, they put the auctions there. So it's not like as perfectly linear as you would think. And the other thing that they're doing too is a lot of this is the search under results pages, these SERPs, they're going to be customized on a user by user basis. So for example, if eBay knows that I have bought from a seller before and I do a search for a thing that a seller that I've bought from before has in the store, oops, just knocking over stuff on my desk. Don't mind me. Don't mind me just filming a video and destroying everything. Anyway, yeah. All right. So that seller who I've purchased from before is going to get a higher ranking in that search engine result page for that keyword that is relevant to their items that I typed in personally as a previous customer. eBay knows that I'm more likely to buy from them a second time than I am to buy from somebody else for a first time. So that's another beautiful thing for getting repeat customers is if you're generating a lot of happy repeat customers, when they search for stuff, if it's in your store is going to show higher for their search results pages because they've bought from you before and eBay knows that they're more likely to buy from you again. This detail isn't in this patent, but I know for a fact, I would bet my life on it that this is happening because it just makes sense and the technology exists. Sorry, I just ripped my earbuds out. But that's something to think about too. All right, so we're back to relevance score. This relevance is basically all about titles and item specifics, and then also somewhat images, because you'll notice that eBay is showing, like in the promoted listings, when you click on a listing, they're showing visually similar items. And they had a blog post about this on their dev blog where they explained how the technology works. So if I'm searching for like a red, white, and blue throw pillow, somebody might have that exact throw pillow that I'm looking for, but they didn't title it red, white, and blue throw pillow. They might have labeled it, I don't know, I don't know any throw pillow brands. Pillow Co. Throw, whatever. Someone might have titled it badly, but the image is visually similar to all the other images that come up when I type in the red, white, and blue throw pillow. So that plays a factor into it, which gets very interesting, especially when they're doing like predicting your score based on similar items. In the case of Card Cobra, my software, everybody who creates listings with my software are going to have very similar listings by virtue of how they are constructed and how the titles are built and all of that good stuff. So this is why I kind of like how I can kind of vet out people before they purchase the software and get on board, because I only want really good sellers to use my software because then they're going to have good conversion rates. They're going to have good seller quality scores. Their items are going to sell quickly. They're going to have high sell-through rates. And by virtue of that, if all of us are doing a great job, doing far above average, then the predicted scores for every new listing we put out are going to be very high, which is going to put us at the top of the search results for pretty much everything if this can keep up. I got a little incognito thing to show you. So this is my store, my listing, with Card Cobra. And when I scroll down, look at the recommendeds, similar items. These are my listings. This is a Card Cobra user. I don't know whose that is. This one, this one, this one. Let's just open all of these ones that I think that might be mine. Boys, it's like almost half of them. Yep, here's a Card Cobra user. Similar item pops up. Right here. Let's see. Yep, this person is also using Card Cobra. Card Cobra user. Card Cobra user. Card Cobra user. And then my listing. And because they're all very similar in how it's constructed. So this is the power of it. Like, yeah, I could lose sales. We can all lose sales to people whose similar items pop up here. But because all my listings are perfect in the same way and all of my customers' listings are perfect in the same way, if anything that comes up here, like right now, we look at the score, or we look at this similar items feed. These two are mine. This is a customer's, and this is a customer's. You have to scroll to see this is a customer's. This one right here is the only one that isn't a Card Cobra listing. This one's Card Cobra, and then I got another one that's mine, and then here at the end, there's two more. So what is that? That's four. So there's four total that aren't Card Cobra listings here, and that's out of 12. So half of these are my own listings. The other half are listings from my customers who, if I'm going to lose a sale to somebody clicking on one of these, I want it to go to my customers anyways. And then there's only four outsiders in these results. So I see a future where, like, this gets big enough that um, we're gonna dominate the search results. And like, look at this. People who view this item also viewed. These are my listings, I think. This must be a Card Cobra user. These are Card Cobra users. Let's see whose this one is. Yep, Card Cobra user. Like, everything is being recommended is like super duper similar. And here's some more related ones. Um, but yeah, more from my store here. Uh, Here, more Card Cobra listings, my own, and then a few others, just like before. Yeah, it's crazy. It's gonna be awesome. So that's a little aside, but that's what relevance is all about. If you want to get more eyeballs on your listings, you got to have those item specifics. You got to have those titles with those like really rich keywords filled in there. And I'll do an example on how to like find ideas for keywords later in the video. If you're not good at thinking of them, you got 20 extra characters that you don't know what to put in there. I'll show you how to pull up some ideas. It's very simple. Actually, I'm not even going to show you. I'm just going to tell you. Just go to eBay, start typing in the thing or like features of the thing that you're selling, and look at what the autofill suggests to you. Those suggestions are there because they're the highest searched keywords on the site. So when you start typing something in, they're predicting what you're going to type in next or what you're going to click on based on the most popular search terms. So that'll give you ideas of the most popular keywords to include in your titles. Use that technique. All right, listing quality. We kind of talked about these a lot, so I'm going to skip through those. I want to get to these item attributes. So price, first of all. Some people like the price at comps or above comps, and I mean, that's fine if that's what you want to do, but it's not ideal for the algorithm for your rankings. What eBay wants to see is that you're like at that median price, like, and maybe not even median. So they look at the average, and the patent actually says mean, median, or mode. So they could be looking at it from any one of those averages, any one of those ways of doing it. Um, but since eBay always shows you the median price when you're filling out your listing, the goal should be to be, if possible, as close to that median price as possible or lower if you can hit your margins, because that's going to get you ranked higher. For condition, this is like new versus used. Some categories have more specific conditions like clothing does now, and then also sports cards and trading cards. Um, I'm not too sure. I don't have any speculations on condition, but I imagine better condition means better rankings. That's my assumption. I have no evidence for that. And duration, that's I want to say it's probably tied more to auction than anything. Like if an auction is ending soon, they probably will give it preferential treatment than if one is not ending soon, because all of the action happens on auctions generally when they're about to end. And then similar items. This is all that stuff that I talked about for similar listings. If we talk about relevance again, when I was ranting about the Card Cobra users, like if our median sell prices are really high, then we're gonna not only will we have those similarities for in terms of relevance and ranking boosts there, but if our selling prices are also higher than the average who are less similar to us because they took, camera phone pictures instead of the scan grids, and they don't have all their item specifics and we do, and yada yada yada. I think that this is going to help boost us up collectively, which is really interesting. And over here, business rules. This is all common sense stuff, really. Like I think free shipping is huge. That's not my opinion. It's free points. You should just take it. Take the free points. Um, what else did I want to get into more? Prior conversion rates. I think I said this, where eBay is looking at not only like the conversion rates of the item itself, if it's a multi-quantity listing, but they're looking at its historic conversion rate. Like let's say you sold an item and then you relisted it. Like I have my bulk boxes of sports cards. Like I sell through those, and then when they go to zero, I get another one. I relist it. I don't sell similar it. I relist it because I want them to be able to have that historic data associated with that listing, so that they know, oh yeah, that's that listing. Paul sells through him. He has like a 40% conversion rate. I want to get that boost with it. If you're selling an item that took you a long time to sell, then maybe that's something that you do want to do a sell similar on. Start with a clean slate. So there is some strategy behind using relist versus sell similar when you're restocking an item that you've sold previously. These things, I have some more tinfoil hat stuff about seller rating. I think you get scored based on how quickly you respond to messages. I think you get scored based on how quickly you respond to offers. I think basically any kind of interaction with a customer or potential customer, your speed at fulfilling or responding to the thing matters. I also think that you might get a boost. So let's say you have a 3 day handling time, or 2 day, 1 day, whatever it is. Let's go with 1 day. Let's say you have a 1 day handling time, and you fulfill it on the same day. They track that. That's in your listing quality report. They can see your actual ship time. So I think that if you are shipping quicker than you promised to ship, I think that gives you a positive boost. Even if you have same day shipping, if an order comes in, you ship it immediately, I think you probably get some kind of boost for that, for being like really on top of stuff. I don't know for sure, just kind of speculating here in the twilight of this video. Um, Demand metrics. I mentioned the watch list. The more watchers you have, the more ranking, the higher ranked you will be for that. That's why people there's watch bots. You can join discords where you post a link to your item, and then a bunch of bot accounts will go and watch it. I wouldn't recommend that because I think eBay probably can identify those bots very easily because they go and watch a million things, but they never buy anything. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. But it exists and people do it. So maybe it does work. I don't know. I suspect it probably doesn't. And maybe if eBay has a way of catching you, then they can give you, a demotion for that. But on the other side of the coin, if I'm the watchbot guy, I'm going to make my watchbot watch things that somebody didn't request it to watch. It's just going to watch everything so that you can't tell who's abusing it and who's not. But anyway, that's something completely different now at this point. Talk about all this stuff. This stuff right here. This is interesting because they could really use any kind of seller attribute or anything really. This could be like shipping speed. This could be the free shipping, and then this adjustment, the positive or negative impact of it can be different depending on the category, depending on which variables it is, and maybe there's multiple ones. So maybe if you have a high quality score, you get a 20% boost, and then maybe if you have free shipping, you get a 10% boost. This is interesting to me because I don't know if they add those boosts together. So like instead of, in this example, you would get, let's say, a 30% boost, or do they multiply them together, or where it's like you get a 20% boost and then you get another 10% boost on top of that. That would be interesting to know because that can change the outcome of the numbers dramatically. But these are, I don't know. I feel like these are tiny, easy wins. I do like 60-day free returns, like whatever I can do to make my business policies the most generous and like favorable to the customer and to making sales. I do it, and I think I get rewarded for it. And we'll see, because I'm going to pull up my listing quality report too. But yeah, that's everything. Let's pull up the listing quality report now. I have one here because I'm very well prepared, as you can tell by my PowerPoint and by my Excel spreadsheet. All right, so this is me for the sports cards, trading card lots, the used category, no price range. There's some different ones, so like in the price range $12 to 5 million. I'm not ranked as high in that category, but across the board here, is that new or used? As used condition. It's yeah. I don't know. The numbers change dramatically depending on which one you'll get. Well, you'll get this while we're here just to see. Yeah, I have way more item specifics. I have less photos. 3 photos. 3 photos. What listing in this? Oh, this is non-sport trading card singles. Okay, that makes sense now. I thought this was not sports cards lots between that. All right, let's see. Sets. Yeah, you can look at it by category. I won't go through this now. What I want to do is stroke my ego and show you guys this, because this is my main thing. Sports card lots. And I have them priced anywhere from like $3.99 shipped to like $200 or $300, whatever it is. This is where the real value is. This is where you can get the actionable insights onto what you need to do to rank higher. It's going to show you right here. It has the top 10% of sellers for these different levers, these different parts of the sales funnel. And it shows you what the top 10% of listings have, and then it shows you what you have. And if you want to rank higher, all you have to do is open your listing quality report and look at how you compare to the top 10%, and then you just need to beat them. And for me, that was automating more item specifics to be filled out, automating more photos to be created, automating more keywords in the title. Like, all these things are crucial. And you just want to beat the top 10% at everything you possibly can. If you do that, you're going to rank higher. It's that simple, really. It just takes time and effort, because if you're doing stuff manually, depending on what category you sell in, like if you're selling clothing, there's no chrono card for clothing. I can't click a button and have my clothes list themselves like I can with cards, you know? So to come up with being able to automate filling these item specifics is going to require new software that doesn't exist yet. And I think with like AI, how like we probably are getting close to somebody coming up with like an AI clothing listing tool. That's really the future of eBay, I think, and eBay listing tools. Is the AI is going to basically do the whole listing for you, do all the item specifics, do everything, and your job isn't going to be the button pusher doing the work yourself. Your job is going to become the checker, the quality assurance specialist. You're going to go through and look at the AI's work and correct any mistakes it makes and make sure that everything is the way that it should be. So rather than doing all the work, we're going to be checking all the work. And that'll save time for us as sellers as these tools become available in other categories, whether through eBay or through third parties. That's what I see as the future of this. But anyway, that's the listing quality report, and you can see here it'll tell you, it'll give you specific recommendations. Like it'll say like, hey, add item specifics or whatever you're missing, and it'll tell you if you're meeting the top benchmark. And that's what's important. You want to meet and surpass that top benchmark. And the thing here too, these things are whatever your worst thing is going to be the easiest to improve. So like, I could really try hard to increase my conversion rate, but if I double my click-through rate, then I essentially double my clicks. That's going to be huge. It's a lot easier to go from 0.04% to 0.08% than it is to go from 1.71% than to like 1.8%. And not only is it going to be easier to improve click-through rate, it's going to have a more dramatic impact on the store because it's the weakest link. Oh, that's something I talk about in another video. I wonder, before I switch out of here, let's see. I want to see if I can find another sports card lot. Those are singles. I don't know if it has me in any. I have some random crap. Trading card singles, trading card lots used. It doesn't have me in like a price range one to see how it compares in like a specific price band. So we'll just forget about that. All right, so this is the part now where I'm going to show you my store and what I've done. You can see I have the carousel going now. It's got my video. I need to do a new video. Maybe a less deep V-neck now that I'm older and more mature. I button a couple buttons. But your about page. This is what I was talking about before, where I fill out my little about us profile, put a video up. You got all your information here that you can enter, and yeah, the more you fill out this kind of stuff, the better off you're going to be, especially since most people don't do it. Running sales, I think, is important too. I finally got my sale going because it's been a while, and I made like $200 immediately once I launched the coupon. So, like, it was dumb of me to put it off for all year, really. This is my first coupon I've ran this year, and I did a markdown sale too. Um, but anyway, I want to show you guys this stuff. This is really cool. Um, can I open? Let me just open this in the next category, new tab. So this is part of the new version of Card Cobra. So not only does it do the front, back, then the side by side. This is a relatively new feature. This isn't the newest, but it adds a fourth image, like a marketing or advertising image, and this just bumps your photo number up even more, so you could be really far ahead of the averages. This is what I wanted to show you. So right here, the card name item specific, I updated that. This 1974 tops number 71 George Farmer. When I copy this and paste it into eBay, let's see if it does what yep, there it is. This is the product in the eBay product catalog. So if you've ever sold anything where you like scan the UPC and it knows what the item is, and it will even give you like a stock image, that's what they're doing for sports cards now. So what I've done here was, this is how they're naming it, or titling this product. So I'm making my card names be in that same format as the eBay product catalog. I've also improved the set so that if this was like basketball, let's say, it would be 1974-75, to be more standardized. Same thing with this card name here. The other thing I've done too, let's go to my auctions. I added a new way to use like PSA's condition guidelines. So like you got your VGs. I'm sure there's a lot of poor condition ones here. I got some VGX somewhere, right? Near mint, VG. Yeah, well, near mint. Yeah, so essentially what I've done is you can type in like the 1 through 10. There we go, X mint. Um, you can do this now to use those like vintage keywords in the title to like really describe the condition accurately rather than just using eBay's like vague for categories. I think that's going to be really good for vintage sellers. And I was just testing the software, so I auctioned off all this old stuff. I don't know what it's worth. Anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. Sorry about the audio being bad. I just realized I recorded everything using the webcam microphone instead of my big fancy Yeti microphone thing here. But yeah, if you sell cards and you're interested in Card Cobra, I have a demo video. It's a little old. I'm going to do a new one. That's probably going to be my next video. So stay tuned to check that new demo out, or check out the old one and get in touch with me. Link to the Discord's below if anyone wants to chat with me or other sellers that are like-minded. And yeah, have a good one, guys.